All right, so today we're going to be solving equations containing rational expressions. There you go. So this is the last section of our unit, and so we're going to essentially tie up everything that we've been learning into one final thing. And so first we're going to look at solving these problems algebraically. So this is kind of essentially going to be the first problem. So 7 over x plus 2 is equal to 6 over x minus 5. Okay, so this way, you know, this one should seem kind of familiar. You're essentially just going to cross multiply. Okay. So the best way to do that is just eliminating the fractions. You can either cross multiply in this case, or for the complicated ones, you have to multiply by the LCM. Okay, so multiplying by the LCD. Okay, so the LCD is, in our case, going to be x plus 2 and x minus 5. So we're going to multiply both sides by x plus 2 and x minus 5. Okay, so there you go. This is our original equation right here. So we multiply this side by x plus 2, x minus 5. The x plus 2's go away, and so you're just left with x minus 5 times 7. Here, the x minus 5's go away, and so you're just left with 6 times x plus 2. When you distribute that, you're going to get 7 times x plus 2. Sorry, 7 times x minus 5 and 6 times x plus 2. Distribute that, and then you're going to solve by combining like terms and putting terms on the right side. And so subtract 6x from both sides and add 35 to both sides. All right, so you subtract 6x from both sides, you're going to get x minus 35 is equal to 12. Add 35 to both sides. So x is 47. Okay. We are not done though. For this section, it's really important that you need to check your answers. Okay, so what you need to do is substitute that 47 back in and make sure that it's correct. So let's check. So if you look here, this is our original equation. If you substitute 47 for the x's, you're going to get 47 plus 2, which is 49, so 7 over 49. And here you're going to get 47 minus 5, which is 42. 7 49ths is 1/7. 6 over 42 is 1/7. Great. That's the correct answer. Okay, so for these, that one's kind of a little bit more simple, but you're essentially just going to multiply both sides by the LCD. Okay. This way is, again, for more simple equations, but you're just going to cross multiply. So, pretty self-explanatory. We've already done this part. And so you're left with x is equal to 47, and you check your answer. Okay, so for these basic ones where it's just a fraction is equal to a fraction, you can just cross multiply and call it a day. It's pretty simple. For the more complicated ones, we have to use the first method we just saw. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to write that one down. Okay, and so if you write this down, now you have to kind of think about the LCD. So here you've got 3x plus 6. What you want to do first here is factor. So we could factor out a 3, and we're left with 3 times x plus 2. Okay, so just be aware of that. So 3 times x, 3x. Okay, so we need to find the LCD. We're going to factor the denominator. I'm sorry, it should have been minus 6 on the previous problem. Okay, so again, 3 and then x minus 2. So therefore, our LCD here is 3 and x minus 2 for that first fraction. And so if you notice, we've got a 3x minus 6. And if we originally had 3 and x minus 2, that doesn't cover the 6. So the LCD is actually going to be 6x minus 2, not 3x minus 2, because 3x minus 2 is going to cover this guy and cover this, but it's not going to cover the 6. So we need to make sure that instead of the 3, we write a 6 here, because that's going to get rid of this. And so you multiply, so be careful here. You're going to multiply each fraction, okay, each fraction by this number, 6x minus 2, okay? So the first one, technically, again, this was essentially 3 times x minus 2. So if you multiply 3 times x minus 2, the x minus 2's are going to go away for this one, and 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. Okay, so you're just going to have a 2 left on top. Okay, so I'll say that again. When you're multiplying this, write this out as a factored form of 3 times x minus 2. And so when you're multiplying, the x minus 2's go away, because this is a numerator technically. So the x minus 2's go away. And then you've got 6 over 3, which just simplifies to 2. So you're going to have a 2 on the numerator right here. Next, multiply the 6 times x minus 2 by the second fraction. The 6 goes away, so you're just left with 5x times x minus 2. Okay? And then the last one, the x minus 2 goes away, so you're just left with 1 times 6. Okay. So that's essentially what we ended up with when we cleared the denominator. And so we end up with 2 times x plus 1, 5x times x minus 2, plus 1 times 6. Distribute that, and then you're going to combine like terms. So subtract 2x minus 2 to set it equal to 0. And we get 0 is equal to 5x squared minus 12x plus 4. From here, you're going to use key number to factor. Okay? And so you're going to do 5 times 4, which is 20, and you want two numbers that multiply to 20 but add to negative 12. Okay, so you could do negative 10 and negative 2. And then split the middle term, group, factor, and that should be your final, essentially factored form, 5x minus 2 and x minus 2. So your two answers are 2/5 and 2. Okay. But again, you need to make sure that you're going to check your answer. So you have to substitute those back in and see if they work. Okay. So both checks. So okay, let's make sure it's 2/5 this time. So if we substitute 2/5 into the x's here, into the original, okay, if we do that, okay, so once you do all that, here the 5 is going to go away, right? So you're just going to get 2/6, and these you can kind of get a common denominator and simplify as much as possible. Since I will be giving you no calc problems for the most part, feel free to kind of use your calculator to check this answer in terms of finding common denominators and all that. So feel free to use your calculator to check this answer. And so if you do that, you end up with this. Keep simplifying, right? When you're dividing by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. Again, all this you can do in your calculator. I'll be giving you nicer numbers. And you get negative 7 over 24 is equal to negative 7 over 24, which is correct. That's good. Now we need to check the other answer. X equals 2. Okay, easier number. So this one you would not need a calculator for. So you just combine like terms, or you just simplify. So you get 3 over 0 is equal to 10 over 6 plus 1 over 0. We can't divide by 0. Okay, so that means that 2 cannot be a solution. Okay, so their only solution was the 2/5. Okay. So for the rest of the class, I'd like you to try out these 3 problems. Again, you're kind of look at this one, see that this is a basic one, so you can cross multiply here. This one, we would need to multiply by 5 for sure, and by 3. So we need to multiply everything by 5 and by 3. And that's going to get rid of our denominators. Now this one you're going to factor, and it's going to be m plus 1, m minus 1. And so you're going to have to multiply the whole equation by m plus 1 and m minus 1. So you can pause the video now, work on these 3 problems. Okay. Hopefully you've paused it and you've had a chance to work on them. And here are your answers you should be getting. For the first one, it should be plus or minus 7. For the second one, it should be 2. And for the third one, it should be 5/3. Okay, so if you've got a question how I did any of those during the class period, feel free to email me and I will make a quick video and send it back to you. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.